Hello! I am Wallas, the Polish toy guy, and I am now back. I'm very sorry for the lack of February on Wallas Toy Reviews, but unfortunately life had other plans for me in that period. First I had a lot of work in my day job, then I got sick and my voice and nose decided not to cooperate with me for over a week, and then I was actually invited by a local distributor to partake in the review craze that accompanied the premiere of Mica block tape in Poland. But now I am back, and to celebrate my return I want to show you something different. I want to show you some bootlegs. I want to show you my first knockoff Transformers Gashapon Extravaganza. I think Capsule toys have a quite interesting dynamic here in Poland. In Japan, where they are very popular, you go to a vending machine, you put your coin in, you turn a knob and you get an original collectible item. Here it's mostly a chance to get cheap knockoffs, including Transformers, which have sort of premiered in Poland in this shape few months back. And they are accompanied by small stickers with movie Bumblebee, so probably no one cares about copyright infringements. But this means that you can get a sort of Transformer for 2 zlotys or 5 zlotys, so around less than $1 or more than $1. And I want to show you some of them today, and these 3 are fresh, bought just a few days ago, but I'm also going to use 3 that I used for the Polish version of this review. These ones, which also means that probably these will land in another part of a Polish review once I'm done with the English version. Oh, the dynamics of having 2 different language channels at the same time. Let's begin. And here they are, and I want you to go into this review with the assumption that yes, there is a possibility that you will find a knockoff of an existing Transformer among your findings, but these chances are quite small, and in my experience most of these toys sort of share some principle of the original Transformers, mostly the Generation 1 Micromasters, but overall they share the mechanic of transformation, but otherwise are completely new inventions that use shells taken probably from other sources like Hot Wheels, Matchbox. I don't know. The sea of possibilities is infinite, and that may be actually a saving grace for these, because let's face it, these are mostly a curiosity, very cheap quality curiosity that, well, you can't expect a lot from toys that cost around 70 cents, when usually blind bags and other things like that that are original cost around 4 or 5. But with that said, let's say what these can offer. Let's start with discussing them one by one. I think this is going to be the best choice. So let's start with this one, who I'm going to nickname Step into Another World. Very purple, looks like a mechanical scorpion on wheels. Cheap quality plastic, like I said. I think only 4 paint applications here and here. We have this stinger tail on the back, that is a separate piece that's bolted in. And you can already tell that, yes, this definitely looks like sort of distant cousin of Micromasters, but really they're not. And this kind of reminds me of something that could come from some Spider-Man themed car series. It looks quite nice, but it will definitely look much better with more paint. But the good thing is, it actually rolls. And it also transforms, and these parts are already proving to be quite loose. But the transformation is simple, like with all Micromaster wannabe toys. And the robot mode is not very impressive, I have to say. It's very white. We can see some details, including a rather sad generic face with no paint. We can see something that will repeat in other figures, and which I will call the crotch of China. We have no hands, of course. And the posability is only in the arms. And this looks really, really silly. and also means that this toy has lots of problems with standing up unless you give him a hunch. This works, but if you try to put him straight, you fail, literally. So in this one, I think the alt mode is the better mode. Let's go to something more all-terrain. A blue and yellow dune buggy that really reminds me of Minicon Rollbar from Transformers Armada for some reason. But I think this is probably stolen from some series of Hot Wheels, I think. Kind of looks like that shape-wise. And it's nice, it has some details, the engine block, some nitro tank I think, seats inside, dashboard, exhaust pipes. Yes, that looks nice. But again, doesn't stick very well in alt mode. Not as loose as some of them, but definitely not tight. Rolls like a champ. Quite nice, but again suffers from no paint in this mode. So let's transform this fellow and see how he looks in robot mode. No paint again, and this time he is black, so unless you have a good light source, you will not be even able to see how your robot looks like. And the face is again quite generic once you can see it. No hands, but they do move. And again, problems with standing unless you bend it forward. And it's already trying to get into a closer contact with the ground all on its own. Again, 70 cents budget. What do I expect? And the final member of my second batch, who kind of looks a bit like Generation 1 Jazz in this mode, with some slight modernization. And as you can see, we have some gap issues. This is definitely loose, and this is also not a camera-friendly toy. In reality, it is slightly more purple over here than this dark blue. Some nice details. Actually painted windscreen, that's nice. Rolls quite well, at least until the back decides to disconnect while driving. That's a neat feature. Definitely. Again, with some better plastic, more paint applications, this could look really nice. And I like these details on the back. Let's transform him. He has the most advanced transformation of these three because you actually have to move the front of the car down to form the chest plate. And here he is. And I like the contrast of colors now. And he does have something like fingers molded, so that's a plus. And he stands without any issues. That's great. But also has this quite generic face that can't decide whether it's just empty or is an intricate type of helmet with no face. It's strange. I'm not a fan. But definitely a big plus for being a lot different from his friends and for standing up. But with that said, let's move on to my first wave and see what they can do. Okay, this is one of these small chances I was talking about before. This is actually a knockoff of an existing Micromaster named Crumble. And he transforms into a movable crane and is definitely, despite being a mobile unit, the least mobile of all of them because he has weird wheels that are actually not bolted to their neighboring parts but are just put in via friction. You can remove all of his tires, but as a result they stay in quite well, so rolling with this one is not an option. And considering the amount of details we can see under proper light, it's almost insulting that this mode has absolutely no paint. And you can move this and that, and it really feels cheap in your hands. So let's transform this one, and again It's not a very smart idea to mold your toy in black and then not give it any paint. You can't see anything. I think he has sort of hand details, but he definitely has no face details. Seriously, this is just a helmet and the face is a blank slab of plastic, which is sad. But he can stand and even support himself with this crane arm. That's nice. But the blackness really destroys any chance this toy had at shining. And this orange one is quite interesting in that the second I first saw him, I thought someone took the outer shell of War 4 Cybertron Optimus Prime and stuck it on a Micromaster body, but upon closer inspection I think this is something taken from Hot Wheels and modified by adding a gun, I think, which you can also remove if you want to. It has some thruster bits, it has some multi-layered parts, it even has very weak paint applications that already start to rub off. But overall, it has wheels, so it's probably a car, and it does roll. But despite having all these details, it's kind of non-descriptive. So let's transform this one the Micromaster way, and this is not very good, I think. This definitely looks like it was partly borrowed from one of the car transforming Micromasters, but again, bland head, no hands, the crotch of China, and very, very loose hips, which means that putting him to a standing position is just very annoying. You again have to make a hunchback out of this one, and it's not very attractive in its looks. So, interesting vehicle mode, kind of bland robot mode, and again, these diagonal patterns keep repeating. What's going on with that? And our 6th Ranger is definitely my favorite because I can instantly recognize this old mode as something that was borrowed or stolen from the anime Future Formula Cyber GPX. This is definitely one of the versions of the Asura Super Racing car, and I kind of like it, even if it has very limited paint applications. The red spoiler is nice, and the source material just looks so nice that anything that borrows this shape is already quite appreciated. This could look so well with some paint, but again, 70 cents budget, so not a big chance. And it rolls very well, and I really like how this looks in this mode, but we have also robot mode, which is quite interesting in how slightly bizarre it looks. We transform it like that, because if you try to push the arms forward, this spoiler will get in the way. And this is our robot mode for this one. And I have to admit, it looks the most original to me, but also is kind of the silliest. Look at this face. This is a very bland, sad face. It's quite adorable in how silly it is. Also, he has molded fingers, so that's nice, and also stands without any issues, so many good things for something that's not very good in its entirety. I like it. I will probably keep it in vehicle mode because I like the source material, but this is just quite interesting to have in robot mode on your display as well. So now for some quick comparisons. Here we have 5 original Transformers, 3 reissues of the original Micromasters, and 2 Minicons. You can quickly tell the difference just by looking at the quality. And here we have some modern Legends class Transformers as well. And here they are next to the common cola can, $1 bill, and the DVD case for a quite acclaimed movie. So, like I said, at their core, these toys are a cheap curiosity that you might want to buy to entertain yourself a bit for a really low cost, but which I don't think would work as long-term collectibles to fill out your shelf. I do admit, it's amusing how these things step away from original Transformers and try to attract you using shapes from other sources, but for more experienced TF collectors, this may not be enough to compete with better made originals or even larger knockoffs. And the most satisfied customers for these are likely small kids and their parents, who don't know a lot about the franchise yet. With that said, will I buy more? That depends on you really, considering how little these cost. As long as I have access to the right vending machines, I am not opposed to showing you more of these if you want to see them. Let me know what you think in the comment section. And that's all for this video. I will be back with the next one soon, and until then, stay well. Polish Toy Guy, signing out.